Alright, Algebra 1, time for some radical equations. I'm going to teach you radical equations the same way that I was taught radical equations, and it was by my original mentor. Now, my mentor was kind of short, and he kind of said sentences in a weird way, but he was my mentor, and he was a good teacher. So, I'm going to teach you the same way he taught me. And starting with this first one, you'll notice we have a radical. We have a radical on one side of the equation here, right there. And then there's a number on the other side. Well, I need to get rid of this radical, because eventually I want to solve for this variable here. So to undo the square root sign, I need to square both sides. So I'm going to put this in parentheses and square it. And I have to do that to both sides, though, because whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So I'm squaring the left side, and I'm squaring the right side. Squaring the left side of this equation right here is going to get rid of the square root sign. So I am left with n over 5. And then squaring the right side over here, 4 squared becomes 16. And now I need to solve for n. So I need to get rid of this 5. Well, n is being divided by 5, so I'm going to multiply. I'm going to multiply both sides by 5. So 5 and 5 cancel out there, so I'm left with an n. And then 5 times 16 on the right is going to be 80. There's my answer. N equals 80. So that's it. So the big idea here is we're squaring both sides to get rid of the radical. So if we look at question 2 over here, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to square both sides, get 25 equals n minus 2. I'm going to add 2 to both sides, and get 27 equals n. Done. Alright, now, what happens when there's a number out in front of the radical, like that negative 6? Well, I can't just square both sides right away. Instead of doing that, I'm going to first get rid of this negative 6. So I'm going to divide both sides by negative 6. That's going to get rid of those. And now I have the square root of x plus 8 on the right. And then negative 18 divided by negative 6 is a positive 3. So now I've got the radical all by itself. There's nothing outside, in front, or behind. It's all by itself. So I'm now going to square both sides to get rid of the radical. So that's going to give me a 9 on the left, and then squaring a square root gives me what's inside the square root, so I have x plus 8. And then I'll subtract 8 from both sides and get 1 equals x. There's my answer. So my mentor is pretty good. I got pretty good at this. But then I came across something like this. And he said some weird thing like, "Oh, radicals are tough, they are," or something like that. I don't know. It was really weird. But he said, all you have to do, really, is square both sides from the very beginning. So now I get 2a plus 15 equals 3a plus 20. So to begin with, I had a radical on both sides. So all I had to do was square both sides, and it got rid of the radicals. So all I have left is the 2a plus 15 equals 3a plus 20. And now it's just an algebra problem that we did back in September. So all I have to do is subtract 2a. I get 15 because this goes away. And it equals 1a plus 20. Subtract 20. And I get negative 5 equals a. There's my answer. So that's it. That is solving radical equations. I thought I'd introduce you to my original mentor. Here he is. He is a little short, and he does say sentences a little strange. He told me this when we were solving radical equations for the first time. But even though he was a little weird, he did have his methods, and he was very good at solving radical equations.